Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Dana Villa from Chicago, Illinois. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of England and Wales have sent their prayers and condolences to the family of the 8-month-old Indi Gregory, who died in her mother's arms at a hospice on Monday morning, November 13, after the UK High Court's decision on November 10 to immediately withdraw her life support. Bishop Patrick McKinney of Nottingham and Bishop John Sherrington, lead bishop for life issues, conveyed the prayers of the Catholic community, including Pope Francis. The baby, who was suffering from a rare degenerative mitochondrial disease, had been receiving life-sustaining treatment at the Queen's Medical Center in Nottingham, England. Dean Gregory and Claire Staniforth, Indi's parents, had repeatedly appealed in UK courts to take their baby to Rome for treatment. In a statement to the British advocacy group Christian Concern, Indi's parents said they are angry, heartbroken, and ashamed. The National Health Service and the courts not only took away her chance to live a longer life, but also took away Indi's dignity to pass away in the family home where she belonged. The European Union has condemned Hamas for using people as human shields while urging maximum restraint from Israel. Joseph Borrell, the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, delivered this message during a meeting of foreign affairs ministers in Brussels on Monday, November 13. The European Union further declared that any humanitarian pauses must occur right away and that all people must be allowed to evacuate the combat zone. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Forces released a video showing evidence of Hamas weapons in tunnels linking to hospital basements. The footage shows the inside of a tunnel system used by Hamas terrorists connecting to Rantisi Hospital, which is the militants being used as their base. At the ongoing summit of the European Union ministers in Brussels, Ukraine is on top of the agenda alongside with Israel-Gaza war. Ministers from the European Union are debating several topics, including the EU's ability to deliver its promises to supply quantities of ammunition to Ukraine as it battles against Russia's invading military. Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock warned Russian President Vladimir Putin not to, quote, rejoice, end quote, believing that the West will abandon Ukraine. She said Germany's support will be massively expanded, especially for the coming year. Her words came after Ukrainian President Zelensky warned his nation to expect Russia to increase its attack on the nation's fragile infrastructure and urged Ukrainians to remain united. The Ukrainian president said in his nightly televised address on Sunday, November 12, quote, "We are almost halfway through November, and we must be prepared for the possibility that the enemy may increase the number of drone or missile strikes against our infrastructure. Russia is preparing for winter," end quote. At this week's annual fall plenary meeting of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the prelates will cast their votes on whether to approve a supplement to a handbook designed to assist Catholics in voting in accordance with their faith. According to the document, Forming Consciences for Faithful Citizenships, Catholics are called to participate in public life in a manner consistent with the mission of our Lord. The Vatican's Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith points out to a mature Christian conscience forbids supporting a political agenda or a particular law that goes against the core principles of morality and faith. The Dicastery for the Causes of Saints held a meeting to discuss identification of more than 550 martyrs whose death and service circumstances are known to the Church. Pope Francis formed a working group titled Commission for New Martyrs, Witnesses of the Faith at the Dicastery for the Causes of Saints. This move was linked to the Jubilee year of 2025 to compile a list of all Christians who have given their lives to Christ within the last 20 25 years. A press release from the Holy See Press Office states that in addition to drawing on previous work by Fides and other organizations, new research will also be utilized with support from bishops, religious communities, and individuals who have the memory of the martyred Christians. A website has also been established to support the Commission's work and offer some crucial information. Former UK Prime Minister David Cameron has returned to government as Foreign Secretary following Rishi Sunak's decision to remove Suella Braverman from the Home Office. Suella Braverman's dismissal from the UK government came about as a result of her criticism of the police handling of pro-Palestinian demonstrations, after she referred to the demonstrations as hate marches and charged that the nation's top law enforcement agency was applying a double standard in handling instances of assault during the demonstrations. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak faced demands to fire her. Almost 13 months into power, Sunak has made his first significant reshuffle, which includes firing Braverman. Reportedly, Cameron's comeback indicated Sunak preferred to bring in an experienced, more moderate leader rather than carry favor with the party's right-wing supporters of Braverman. While the recent Ohio vote on constitutional amendment demoralized many pro-life activists, Live Action founder and president Lila Rose emphasized that it is now time to redouble their efforts. She said the amendment has enshrined in the Ohio Constitution the individual right to one's own reproductive medical treatment and provided legal protections for any person or entity that assisted in a person receiving such treatment, which could include but not limited to abortion. She described the abortion as horrific and noted that the state had just authorized abortion on demand. Pope Francis has requested the relocation of Benedictine nuns hailing from Argentina to the Mater Ecclesiae Monastery in the Vatican, where Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI lived for around 10 years after his resignation in 2013. 6 nuns have been invited to join the monastery to create the monastic community, and they will move in around the beginning of the new year. The Benedictine nuns of St. Scholastica Abbey in Victoria, Buenos Aires Province, Diocese of San Isidro, Argentina, have kindly accepted the invitation from the pontiff. Bishop of Palim, Benoit Comlan Mesan Alawano, who also serves as chairman of the Togolese Bishops' Conference, recently voiced an alarm at a news conference regarding the continuous presence of terrorists in Togo and urged the faithful to use the cross as a weapon of love against terrorism. With faith in God and anticipation of a brighter tomorrow, he assured them they would be able to triumph over any difficulty. He also expressed gratitude to Caritas for its work in reducing tensions with Burkina Faso and Benin and assisting those in the northern Savannah area who had been affected by terrorism in their attempts to rebuild their lives. The Algerian government has tightened its restrictions on house churches, capping gatherings at 10 individuals, according to a report. As per the International Christian Concern, a U.S.-based persecution watchdog, the enforcement involves not only restricting gatherings, but also locking up several church leaders. This persecution follows a period of increased tensions during the Israel-Hamas war, as the Algerian government associated Christians with Western and foreign influences that were viewed as a danger to the country's Islamic unity and hence saw them as Israel sympathizers, according to the watchdog. A coalition of 26 attorneys general is urging the new U.S. House Speaker to pass a bill that would give states the power to enforce federal immigration law. The attorneys general, headed by Florida's Ashley Moody, sent a letter to Speaker Mike Johnson requesting the Immigration Enforcement Partnership Act to be passed by Congress. H.R. 1337 was presented by Representative Bill Posey of Florida last year. The proposed bill would enable state officials to function as immigration agents on behalf of the federal government to apprehend, detain, and deport illegal immigrants. The Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, also known as HRCP, has raised concern over the rising sense of helplessness among Pakistan's people amid economic hardship and unemployment. According to the latest reports, democracy, electoral politics, and the rule of law have suffered greatly as a result of political maneuvering in anticipation of Pakistan's impending general elections. As the elections draw near, the rights panel stated that it is resolved to hold the state responsible for these limitations, citing the constraints placed on the media. The commission also denounced the ongoing restrictions on freedom of speech, stating that numerous journalists have been barred from covering recent events in certain locations, in addition to being dismissed for voicing opposing views. The panel also underscored the grappling law and order situation in the Kachcha areas of Sindh and Punjab, which called for immediate attention. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.